So, the age-old question, how to make it bigger or smaller once you've purchased your bike. Let's get on topic. Hey everybody, it's Thomas with Get Out Arizona, and you are watching another fantastic episode of Toolbox Topic. Oh my gosh, I'm joined once again by my co-host, Brandon Van Leuven. Brandon, how the hell are you?
Pretty good.
Nice, and you just got back from vacation as well.
Got back from Minnesota. Wow. It was real nice there.
Excellent.
Just before the snow starts.
Right? I was going to say, a few more months, it ain't going to be nice any longer, so it's kind of cool. So Brandon was on vacation. I was on assignment back east in Buffalo in the Niagara area. Went to Canada a couple times. Don't hold that against me, though. Well, I mean, you got to love the Canadians. They got cheese and hockey, so what are you going to do? And croissants.
Oh, yeah. Croissants.
Yeah, don't forget the croissants. Not to be confused with the croissant, as I steal from Dennis Leary. So, no, seriously, guys, it's great to be back. And yes, you're watching another great episode of Toolbox Topic, and this episode is dedicated to Joe Schmo. That's what he goes by.
Why the anonymity?
Right?
I don't trust this guy at all.
Oh, I'm sure he's a good guy. But he reached out and commented on one of our videos and specifically asked to do a toolbox topic on how to make the bike feel larger or smaller after you've purchased, not necessarily doing a bike fitting, but the things you could do to customize that. But before we go any further, I wanted to remind you, we are at Trek Bicycle Stores of West Phoenix in Goodyear, Arizona, because it's where the cool kids hang out and me. And yes, this is what we're going to talk about today. So Brandon, I'm going to link the bike fitment. I highly recommend it. My bike has never felt better since I did the actual 3D fitment and everything like that. And OB1 will actually attest to the quality and what it did for him on his bike.
Good.
But we purchased a bike. It pretty much fits. Any bike shop that's worth its weight in salt will have you ride around, make some minor adjustments, and then you start to dial it in.
Correct.
To make that ride feel smaller.
Right?
Yeah, what can we do? What are some things that riders can do?
Well, I want to back up first to the first thing that you mentioned was the initial purchase.
Right.
Make sure that your salesperson, your tech, does a good job of going through all this with you. Our job really is to get you as close as a fit out of the box as possible for your bike. Provided that's done correctly, we really shouldn't have to make a lot of major adjustments after that, because the designers and manufacturers of the bike, they take into account, well, if this guy's gonna be this height, his shoulders must be this wide.
Right.
His ass must be this wide.
Right.
He must need this much amount of stretch.
And these are blanket assumptions.
They are. I mean, I'm sure they have some kind of formula as well for that, but it should be pretty darn close out of the box. That being said, there's always room for improvement.
Yes.
And that will be done, especially on the road bike, with a proper fit, as you were mentioning.
Yes.
Yes, we can, some people are a bit more attuned of what they like the bike to ride like, but if you're not.
I like mine sloppy.
But if you're not, if you don't have that experience and that feel, please get a fit done. You can get a basic fit for relatively inexpensive. Otherwise, what we're doing is we're chasing it. You're buying parts and we're just guessing. If we invest in the fit initially, then we have hard numbers. We have more of an exact science to go off, more of a roadmap that's laid out for the road bike.
And some of the things you will notice if the bike's not tailored to you, your body, sore knees, possibly feet if you're riding clipless pedals, up in the upper shoulder, trapezius area, hand numbness is another good one. These are all indications that you could tweak out the fitment of your bike just a little bit to make that ride more comfortable. And let's face it, if the ride's not comfortable, you ain't riding.
Right. So I have examples behind us of ways that Glenn, our fitter, dials in someone's fit should he go into the fit room. But also, again, if you know, kind of have an idea of where you want to go with your bike, you can come in and try it out. Again, it is a bit of a guess, but there are options for you. Plenty of aftermarket options.
These options, now Brandon and I talked about doing it for the road bike and then throwing them out. They're identical. Stem, seats, mass, all this stuff. So we're just going to do it for the road bike, but understand that you can take this information and apply it to a mountain bike or a hybrid or a cruiser or whatever the case may be. These suggestions are pretty much universal. So
yep, certainly.
All
right. Please keep in mind that these are just two examples of extremes that I've pulled out here.
Yes.
So for example, again, should your bike been fit properly from the purchase, it should be pretty close already. But you can see the difference here in someone who needs a narrower handlebar or a wider handlebar. And there's a bunch in between, and there's a bunch on either extreme of this as well.
It's almost like a cowboy when you clank those together.
More bell.
More cowbell.
So handlebar, this is the way that you're going to make that feel
Ape hangers.
better for your upper body and shoulders.
Yeah.
For that reach, we have stems. Now there are many, many stems out there. Many what we call rises and sizes.
Yeah.
So these happen to be just a couple of different sizes. I think I have a 90 and a 60 here. And
there we go.
they are 0 degree or minus plus or 7 minus rises. Now you can get them in extreme rises, 35 degrees, 17 degrees, and shorter, longer. This is really a way to really dial in the fit of your bike because there are so many options.
Now, some people don't realize that you flip it. So if it's a plus 10, you can flip it, and now you're negative 10.
Yes,
and that's how you would do that. So, and one person did ask, well, where do you find that negative? And you just flip it. And not everybody realizes that.
Right.
Some people think it's that.
And negative is always cooler.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Whether you can do it or not.
Right. And then, of course, you have the length of the stem is going to put you out further as far as your reach
bring
goes.
it back.
And then for those of you who don't know, again, if you're like, well, what's the difference between a negative or the positive slope? One, you're going to be more upright, which is going to promote a more comfortable, less aggressive stance. And that negative is going to put you down more in a bent, aggressive aero stance. So just so you guys know.
Typically, if the situation calls for hand numbness or upper body discomfort, we go shorter and we go higher on the rise to make that bike more comfortable. You're going to lose a little bit in the aerodynamics. I'd
rather have comfort.
Maybe a little bit in the handling of the bike, but it'll definitely bring you up and hopefully help with any kind of discomfort that you're having.
Yeah. But look at it this way, guys. You're not riding in the Paris-Roubaix or the Tour de France or something like that. There's no prize money on the line. So get that bike as comfortable for you, as enjoyable for you as you possibly can.
If you're comfortable, you're going to ride longer. You're going to actually probably ride more efficiently and ride harder.
Absolutely.
So if you own a Trek bike and it has a seat mast configuration, there are multiple configurations for that as well in the cap.
For the record, I hate seat
It makes our sizing a little bit harder if you're in between sizes, but there are options for that. Not only are there lengths available, but there's also what we call setback, and that's how far this thing goes back. We have setbacks of, I think they go up to 20 degrees. These are 0 offset, so they're almost straight up, but there is that ability to dial and fit using seat mast caps should you have a Madone or, Madones don't use these kind, but should you have a Domani or an Amanda that uses a seat mast cap.
Thanks, Trek. You're screwing me out of my Domani.
And get the carbon ones. Float the money for the carbon ones.
Yeah.
They're hella lighter.
It's now seats.
Saddles. These are just examples of a few, just to show you that Trek does make a number of different width saddles and some different models.
Right.
This is just 3 of them. I think this saddle actually comes in 5 different widths.
Yes.
But that is a way also to gain a little bit of comfort depending on the posture of your bike. Right. Now, we have a sizer here called the Ass Master. And I
sat on that Ass Master.
It will measure your sit bones, so we have a little bit of a better idea of what width we need to go with you.
You sit on it, you're really gonna... I'll link it up below again with the whole doing the fitment and everything like that. Now, another thing I want to point out with the saddles, they have the split saddle. They have saddles that have longer rails. I like the Chromag ones just because it has a little bit more adjustability to the length of rail. You can get the rails in titanium, carbon, steel. You can get these in different materials and everything like that.
So many options.
So many options to customize where your ass is going to be for anywhere from 20 to 100 miles. You might as well spend the money and get the one that's going to be,
right. And even when we size a person on the Ass Master, still sometimes the nose maybe flare too quickly or not enough. There's always those are a bit of a guessing game.
Absolutely.
We can give you a ballpark of the sizing, but as for the shape of the saddle, that's up to you. You're going to have to figure that one out on your own.
Right.
And for that, a lot of the saddle companies give you a return policy.
Yep.
That you can either get a store credit or you can get a different saddle in. So make sure if you're still kind of trying to figure this whole thing out, that whatever saddle you get, there's some kind of policy where If it's not working out, you're not SOL.
Because a good saddle is expensive, guys, and it's worth the money when you find the right one, but just don't let it linger. And hold on, Magic Hollywood. I gotta run over here and turn the light on, you know, because they're motion sensitive lights.
This one's next, probably.
Brandon with a safety dance. And he's dropping parts. So, if you guys were curious why I just can't get over the hump on the 1,000 subscribers, here it is. No, joking. So, all right, cranks. Next thing, cranks.
So this is I only seen this maybe once or twice. And all
Right.
This is an extreme case of trying to get someone dialed in on their fit. There are cranks. Please forgive how cheesy this set of cranks is. The only set I had that was new.
Right.
But you can get cranks in different lengths.
Yep.
Depending on if you got to be really disproportionate. I feel like to have to
Yeah,
get
to
the
mess
cranks.
with that
Or
crank,
triathletes will get smaller cranks because it helps them to run later.
Right.
I know very little about that, but I know that it has been done. I just don't understand the theory as much, but it can be done. So this is another way to get you dialed in. Cranks come in, I think, 4 different lengths depending on the
170,
manufacturer.
175, 180.
170, yeah.
I think I've even seen like 160s before in a
Something
really
like that,
extreme situation.
172.5. Yep. So
Now
there's more options.
Yeah, and this is kind of funny that Brandon brings this up. So, and even though the suspension is very much dialed in on my mountain bikes, Warren, Arizona, and I strike the shit out of the pedals and the crank arm. And I asked Brandon, hey, should I shorten up the length on the crank arm? And he said no, because it's not worth losing that.
The leverage.
The leverage that I would get for that. And it's just one of those things that you kind of, so again, pros and cons. Everything we're talking about
and
is
the money,
pros and
because
cons.
even though we're going to get a shorter one, it's only going to be a few millimeters.
Right.
And the rocks are all different sizes.
They are.
And the bottom bracket heights of a lot of these new bikes and mountain biking have come down so much for a little bit better stability, center of gravity. So we're kind of fighting the rocks and the design of the bike.
Yeah.
Just either get boots for it or just
Boots.
suck it up.
That's gay. Who's going to get boots for their crank arms? You're lying.
No.
I didn't even realize they made such a thing. Is it seriously a thing?
You should. A lot of the bikes have them. You can't even tell they're there.
Okay. Anyway, you learn something new every day. Holy shit. All right, I'm done. I need a drink. Did you bring the bourbon today?
I did.
Okay. God,
So
we're getting
let's
fucked
get
up
out of
after
here.
this. Yeah. So that being said, cranks, stems, mast seat posts, and of course with the mountain bike, your dropper post. You can get a dropper post that actually has a little bit more less drop and everything. You can actually, on some, the Salsa Timberjack, you can change out that rear chainstay, that triangle, and make it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
There's, depending on the bike, there's a lot of different things you could do. Some of them, there's third-party companies on mountain bikes where you can get a different link and actually, adjust the geometry that way and the fitment and everything. So when we tell you that this is kind of just a garden variety and a generic blanketed statement for it, it is, because different brands, and for the most part, like Brandon was saying, manufacturers have that equation they use and it pretty much works for everybody, but it doesn't hurt to dial it in. Or if you're that person, maybe your arms are a little bit longer or you have more leg than you do upper torso. These are things that are going to make it more enjoyable for you in the long run. And again, can't stress it enough. The bike feels good and you're comfortable, you're going to ride more. And like Brandon said, you're going to tend to ride more aggressively. You're going to feel more confident on that bike. So, Brandon, anything else to add? I mean, that
No, I think the
says it all.
bottom line is on the road bike, get the fit done.
Yeah.
Don't chase it. Don't guess.
Right.
On the mountain bike, that is more of a feel. I don't think we talked about the mountain bike as much, but mountain biking, we see everything and everybody's comfortable and everything. I'm sure if I got in the fit room on my mountain bike, Glenn would want to change all kinds of things, but that's how I like that mountain bike to feel. There's not quite the roadmap on the mountain bike, in my opinion.
Right. And Glenn did adjust the rail for me based on some of the hard measurements, the basic measurements on my fitment, and it did make a difference. Some stuff I tweaked a little bit even after the fact, but yes, on a mountain bike, it's definitely more of a feel. And I think based on the terrain you ride is how you're going to want that set up.
That too.
Here in the desert, are you in Oregon? Are you back east? Upstate New York, Maine, places like that. It's gonna, and this is why we personalize this stuff.
Exactly.
It's our bike, not yours. So, on that note, guys, seriously, we can't thank you enough, but we're gonna ask that you hit the like, subscribe, and the bell notification icon. Why? It helps out the video, it helps out the channel. We need all the help we can get for park passes, coffee, and gas money, more importantly, because if we don't have that, we can't get to where we're going. There's going to be some additional links. One of them, the most important one, Trek Bicycle Stores of West Phoenix.
Thank you.
If you have any questions about this video or any of the videos that you've seen, reach out to those guys. Brandon has a crack team. They're an amazing group of guys and gals. I love them to death. Also, our social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the devil's work. It's necessary though. Follow us on social media. You will keep up on all the day-to-day affairs, including our group rides and group hikes, which are a buttload of fun. And the other links are a hodgepodge. There may be some affiliate links, and I'm obligated to tell you that because that's what YouTube says. And I can't go against YouTube, you know. It's if I did, why am I here? You know, at that point. So, guys, on that note, I don't know what else to say other than be kind to yourself and others. Be amazing stewards on that trail. And we have to ask, what are you waiting for?
Get out, Arizona.
We'll see you on that next adventure. Everybody, take care. We'll see you next week. Brandon, thank you, sir.
Until next time.
Hell yeah.